Uh, Welcome, everybody. Here we are at our Leo New Moon Intention Circle. It happens to be the Leo New Moon today, and we don't normally do that, but because of various holiday and vacationing and traveling schedules, we landed on an actual new moon, which is actually kind of exciting. And following this, I'm actually jumping into the sweat lodge for ceremony. And so I've already been in the lodge. So there's a kind of a really interesting energy that's flowing through this particular evening. And so I welcome all of you. And we're so happy to have you here. And Valen is going to share some astrology pieces with us as usual. For those of you that are listening on recording, we are going to post this to YouTube. So by all means, share it with your friends. And while you're doing that, take a look at our Inner Wisdom Fundamentals Toolkit. So one of the things that we have on the toolkit is a connection quiz. And if you take a look at that, it's pretty short, but it's a nifty little tool to help you kind of feel into what kind of listener you are, and what kind of supporter you are, and what kind of challenger you are. And I bring that up today because one of the things that we're going to look at for the journey is how we sometimes move from being a challenger to being a bit of a tyrant to ourselves. And so if there are places in our lives where we are persecuting ourselves a little bit, being a little bit of a bully, we're going to kind of back off that and bring some love in and support ourselves through that for this very powerful Leo new moon. My goodness, the turmoil, the drama. Okay, so Valen is going to now share with us Zora's fairly brief, actually, surprisingly, but very pointed and clear message that they had for us for this new moon. So take it away, Valen.
Okay. Yeah, it is shorter than normal, which is interesting. I expanded the font. Here it is. Greetings. Let your heart expand and your light shine brightly as you embrace this new seed moment in your life. It is incumbent upon all who have chosen to walk in physical form upon your planet to express your spirit fully, for it's part of the human evolution that is taking place at this time. Find your own path to share your particular unique brilliance and ask for assistance as you seek the courage to be seen in the fullness of your own beauty. As you shine your light, this energy becomes infectious and others will step into the expression of their own light.
Myself. I love that so much. And one of the pieces that is really resonating, I get to read this a few times, which is beautiful, and then listen to it in circle. One of the things that's really jumping out is this idea of the courage to be seen in the fullness of our own beauty. And that really feels central to Leo energy for me. And I'm sure that Valen will be able to speak to that more directly in a moment. Before we do that, let's just contemplate the kind of overall energy of this new moon and how we can use this fierce feminine energy that's available because of Black Moon Lilith that is affiliated with this particular new moon phase. We can use that fierce feminine energy to really take a firm stand for ourselves, but particularly for those parts of us that we may not necessarily acknowledge, or that may be a little bit slower on the uptake, or those pieces of ourselves that are a little bit awkward, or that, you know, that part of you that you just don't really like that much. And so that's kind of the piece that I want to make us a little bit aware of this evening. And of course, it wasn't until I had gone through these pieces a few times and really been sitting with this idea of working with our patterns that are holding us back that I realized that we're actually doing shadow work in Inner Wisdom Circle next month. And when we booked our practitioner, she specifically said to us, watch out, be aware, because when you set an intention to do shadow work, shadow pieces come up. So here we are, and it's happening. Belen, take it away.
So here is the general Leo energy, and it's an energy that we'll be working with since, and actually already have, because the sun and the moon have already been in Leo, but what we'll be working with, particularly when we're setting intentions around this new moon. So these are places where we can really step into the skillful qualities and also watch for how the unskillful qualities come up in our life and where we can be attentive to them and where we sometimes can get stuck in them, or just to pay attention to all of the pieces that the Leo energy has to offer. So the Leo energy in general is, Leo's the lion, the king, the regal, and there's a part about being a leader, being confident, being energized. And also there's that sense of the fun and the open-hearted. Leo is an open-hearted, generous energy that's magnetic. It wants to express itself. It wants to use its charisma to explore its own expression, particularly through a heart-centered way of being. So those pieces are there for us right now, which is fantastic. And when I get into the details of the new moon, it's really a big part of what's going on right now. And it's also a time to be attentive to where we might feel, shy or self-conscious or insecure in what our light is, or being able to shine our light, to be able to express our creativity openly. Where do we naturally hold back? Where do we not feel confident about that? Or where do we direct the other oriented? Where do we direct our energies externally instead of our internal expression of who we are? So there's a lot of pieces here that are just there for us and are going to show up really specifically in this exact new moon chart that I'm going to tell you about next. Oh, I'm going to tell you about, after I tell you about this part, I've forgotten the order of the slides. So Leo energy assists in, and we've just got some points. Once again, this is from our journal. My inner entertainer, the natural abundant energy, innate flamboyance. And a lot of this sounds like, oh, I'm on stage, oh, I'm being seen, but it's actually not. It's starting to own our own creative expression, whatever that is. It can be cooking, it can be anything. It doesn't necessarily mean you've got to, walk out with your face painted in a lot of crazy colors. This is like an extreme version of artistic flair that I've picked a picture of. It's about owning our confidence in who we are and stepping into that charisma. And now I'm going back to, I'm thinking about that Zora message and about that sense of when we shine our light, when we express ourselves, we're giving permission for others to do the same. There's something really charismatic about when you step into your center and just say, this is who I am, I'm showing up. And there's something really powerful about that. It's also, that Leo energy is also about being in a position of leadership and being the hero of my own story. I sort of think of being a leader in your own life. Where are you being guided to expand your own path and to hold that space for yourself, once again, with that heart energy, that compassion for yourself, which is part of what Sasha was talking about, which will be part of the journey. So for the Leo new moon, it's a very exciting new moon. We'll put it that way. There are one particular planet, and there's a couple of others that I'll pull in, but one particular planet is really highlighted in this new moon, and that's the planet Uranus. And Uranus is about disrupting the old ways of being, particularly where we may have been stuck in some ways, bringing new inventiveness into our life. So just looking at the Leoness, this is a time to be expressive, to follow our heart energy, to follow what inspires us. And especially when we're setting intentions, follow truly where your inspiration is leading. And, as I was thinking about this, I thought, there's something about self-expression that is a spiritual path for all of us. And it's going to mean something different for everyone. What's your particular self-expression? And to follow that becomes a spiritual path, even if it has nothing to do with, spirituality in a technical sense. It's just being true to ourselves, just following the spark of creativity, living a joyful life, expressing who you are. That is a spiritual path. And it also is a path of inspiration to follow for yourself. And once again, it's that sharing of your heart energy that is infectious. It is that sense of being in the presence of someone who is joyful in their expression of life. You know how that uplifts everyone. So think about that as how you choose to live your life, particularly focused on this and at this time of the new moon, but also in terms of what intentions you might want to set about how you can live your life through that joy, unique to you, which is, of course, the essence of this. So the Uranus disruptive energy in general is going to allow for new awarenesses to come in, because there may be some changes, some shakeups, some different ways of looking at things that you may not have experienced before. And this can be something you can intend for. You can ask to be open to what is going to give you new enlightenment, new awareness, new ways of thought. And part of that is to recognize where things, even if you set an intention, where you set your intention and then something unexpected happens. And then you have to go, wow, what is that? What am I opening up to? How do I get to see things from a new perspective, because things didn't go the way I was thinking it would go? That's part of this Uranus entry. It's awarenesses that are brought through, disruption, through changes, through sudden energy. So there's, at this time, an opening to what opportunity it brings to you. And there's just a piece to sort of accept that everything may not go as planned, and yet that opens doors in a new way, brings in the new awarenesses. And in that is freedom. There's a creative freedom, new ideas come to you. So there's a piece here about really allowing yourself to go with the flow, I would say, as changes occur, because those changes are what spurs us on to our own, enlightenment, our own growth, sets us on new paths. There's so much that can come from not being stuck in our own patterns. So there's a part of that that's really lovely. And I think of this as soul revolution, because that Uranus is about revolution, to be your authentic self. And Uranus is also rebellious. So there may be points where you might want to step into your own rebellious energy in a way, not to be upsetting people for no other reason, but to actually to say, this is what's right for me, and it may not please everybody. And following what your soul is asking you to do, is asking you to follow that piece. And it may not even be that rebellious, but it may internally feel rebellious. So just to honor that place, because this Uranus is an awakening, and it's a challenge to, show up as yourself. There's a challenge here with that, the way that these planets line up. So at the exact new moon, which was early this morning, Mars was not at that point exactly at the 23 degrees, which is where we're at, the new moon is. but it is now. Mars is the planet of courage. It's about leadership. It's about energy. And it is now at the exact point of this new moon. And it's actually trining Uranus, this disruptive energy. So this is a beautiful opportunity to bring courage. I put to live your own uniqueness. There's a place here where this energy is assisting to step into, this is who I am. This is how I can show up. What does that look like? How does it feel? There's an energizing of your spirit to do that through your own courage and allowing you to follow your own direction. So this is, there's no one else can lead this path. It is through your own experiences that you will choose your direction, and it may totally not be like everybody else, absolutely out of the ordinary. And this is a very energizing, it's an excitable, it's a fire sign. There's a lot of energy that's put in here, and the positive, constructive action is based on your new inspiration. So there's inspiration coming in, and then that Mars energy can actually make you ground it, make it real. Virgo, Mars, making it real, grounded. So there's a place here where as you follow your path, you can actually make some plans to follow through on what you're going to do. It's great for intention setting because you can have new ideas and you can open to the innovation, and then this energy is going to really help you make it concrete, bring it into your life. Now, the other piece that is, somewhat disruptive in the Uranus way, but in a way that stands for who we are, whether we are in a male body or female body, this is tapping into the divine feminine. And there's two places. Black Moon Lilith is right with this new moon, and it is connected to Eris. Both of these points in a chart are about the sacred feminine. It's where the fierceness, it's the feminine that stands up for what's right. So at this point, we are being offered this energy of, wow, I can, when I tap into my feminine energy, when I open my heart to what I know is right, I can stand in my truth and stand up for what's right. And it gives us an opportunity to align to our soul's future path. And Sashi used the word fierceness, and there's a part of the divine feminine that is fierce in terms of what is right, but not in a destructive way, but in a way that comes from the heart, that aligns to a truth. And there's part of this new moon that when we can tap into it, it's like holding the fierceness of what's right for ourselves. And that's where, once again, we move on to our soul's future path. Uranus is about the future, moving forward. North Node is connected in here. What's our future path? So there's an opportunity here to really connect to what we hold in ourself as the feminine, intuitive, and having the courage to follow that for ourselves. And the other piece that's really important right now with this new moon is the connection with Venus, which as at this time is retrograde, which means it's when any planet is retrograde, it's a time when often there's a turning inward, there's a reflection. So Venus can be about values. It can be about relationships. It can be about finances, creativity. There's all sorts of things that are embodied in the archetype of Venus. And there's also that time of turning in. So this is an opportunity to reflect on what's really important for you. So, and as you set intentions, is there a creative project that you want to reflect on, that you want to, are there relationships that maybe that you need to reevaluate? And I would say, in all of this, recognize your own value in this as well. So inner time to evaluate all these pieces. And at the base of this is, where is your value, your worth? because that's going to be part of what's going to lead you to what is important in relationships, where even within finances, where the value is and where you find that in yourself. And because it is so close to the sun and the moon, so close to the sun, Venus is invisible right now. It's almost like hidden in the beams of the sun. And so this is a really private time. It's personal. There's an inner time. There's a time for reflection. There's a time for healing. It's almost like before Venus comes into the sky again, out of the shadow of the sun's beams, it's not seen. So this takes us inside. So there's a lot of inner work that can be done, or maybe work's not the right, inner reflection that can be part of what you are intending to move forward with. And this is a beautiful time to really sit with it. And the last piece that I put in, there's a lot going on in this new moon, but the last piece I put in is something that's ongoing all the way into the fall, and it has been already. And it's part of a bigger transformational piece. It's Pluto in a hard aspect. It's called a square to the nodal axis. The nodes are, what is your soul purpose? What are you willing to let go of? What do you need to let go of that may be not allowing you to move fully into your soul purpose? What does that look like? And Pluto's about our power, about our personal transformation, our personal healing, choosing our own path to personal empowerment. So that is an overarching thing that we are working with. It's an energy we're working with over the next while still, but it is, I think it's exact. I haven't got the, where's the chart? I'm looking at the chart. It's exact right now. Yeah, it's exact right now. So there's a place where this becomes really potent in this new moon. And when you go through all the ideas about following your heart expression and expressing who you are, that is part of stepping into your own personal power, aligning to your soul purpose, and moving forward with courage. So this whole new moon is a beautiful place to set intentions for how you want to move forward, how you want to express yourself. And there's a lot of power with this and a lot of opportunity to step out. I'm going to say break old patterns, open to new paths. This is all an option that these energies are encouraging us to do that now.
Wow. Okay. So let's just sit with all of that for a moment. And it is a lot. And there are likely going to be pieces that are going to really speak to you, that are really going to jump out for you, whatever's happening in your life right now. It did occur to me that I might ask Belen to check what's happening with my Pluto right now and what that's all about. But that's for another moment.
And actually, you know what, before we leave from this, I'll just say anyone who knows their chart, if they look at where Leo is in their chart, like mine is in the house of creativity. Sasha, yours is in the house of career. If you know that piece of your chart, then you can also really focus your intentions. Your intentions can be anywhere. Follow your intuition on this. However, in terms of the astrology, you can get more direction and certainly set intentions around what house Leo falls in.
Yeah. And also, of course, relevant where your sun is, right, Belen? Because of the sun ruling Leo.
Yeah, that's way too complicated at this stage. I think just knowing where Leo is in your chart
is sufficient.
Okay.
So I wanted to introduce the concept of the sun because we're going to play with the energy of the sun right now. And so I'm going to encourage everybody to just relax, sit back, find your seat, lie down, get a blankie. It's a little warm for blankies maybe at the moment, but just doing whatever you feel you need to or would like to do. I'm reminding you that nobody's going to see you because of the way that we set up this recording. So if you are listening in on the recording, I'm going to encourage you also to take a moment to, certainly not if you're driving, but if you're not driving, if you're still somewhere and you're able to just relax in, let's just do that. And we're going to come into the body with breath, because that's such an easy way And just if you want to take your hand and place it on your belly, just above your belly button, and start to breathe in and out into the belly. That's your solar plexus. That's your place of identity, of personal power. And so that's a really great place to land with this Leo new moon, ruled by the sun. And so what is our relationship with the sun? So some people are sun worshipers, some people don't love being in the sun, but the truth is that the sun, of course, is our life-giving force. It offers the spark. It could be the spark of fire, the spark of light in the darkness. It helps the plants to grow. In fact, without the sun, there would be no life upon this earth. So it is the giver, the bringer of life. And so we need the sun. And the sun often is referred to as a masculine energy because it has that heat, that light, that perpetual energetic productivity, activity. It's action oriented. And so we can think of the sun as being masculine. And in this case, just feeling into the masculine energy, that archetypal masculine energy. And then, of course, the moon. Now, not in all cultures, not in all traditions is the moon considered feminine, but for our sake today, particularly because it's a new moon, and so we're in the darkness, in the withdrawal of the moon, and we have that extra withdrawing energy, that private internal energy with Venus, also a feminine energy, in retreat, in retrograde. And so feeling into that side-by-side play, that conjunction energy, side by side, the moon and sun, very different energies, and yet intertwined, interrelated. And especially the Leo new moon is particularly interesting because once a year, we have this relationship between the star that keeps us alive with its light and the moon that keeps us in flow of our energy and motion, our emotion in darkness. That's what the new moon is all about. It's the darkness. And so as we lose the light at the end of day, we move into that darkness again. And so just feeling into the contrast. And take a moment to consider the sun, our need of it, our love of it, the convenience that it provides, the light, the heat, the life force. And yet sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it is relentless. And so let's feel into this energy of relentless and the way that sometimes we can feel tyranted by the relentlessness of the sun. So consider the sun at its peak, in peak summer, wherever you are. There's no shade and no breeze, or no trees anywhere, no large trees anywhere, no water nearby, and no wind. And it's midday at the peak, the height of the sun in the sky. And that heat and that light is blinding. And feel into the relentlessness of that. And we all carry a piece of that within us. For some of us, it might be quite well developed. For some, quite subtle. But we all have a piece of this sun energy within us, this relentlessness. So take a moment to think back to not the biggest issue in your life, but just an issue that may have arisen in the last little while where you were a little bit relentless toward yourself. You pushed yourself beyond reason. You were insistent rather than backing off. You were demanding when perhaps it might have been more desirable to be gentle or forgiving. So just take a moment to sit with that and consider that moment or that situation or that relationship. It might have to do with your work and how much you demand of yourself in your work world. It may have to do with having a dream or an intention that you are pushing through in order to get to the other side. It may have to do with a goal that you've set for yourself, even at the beginning of the year with the workshop that we did together, the Dreaming In workshop. And maybe you visioned something for yourself and you found yourself pushing through to reach it more quickly or more efficiently. Or it's maybe just even just an idea in your mind about where you should be. The energy of should is relentless. It's a kind of relentlessness. It's a kind of unrelenting lack of compassion. And it can be just for a moment, 30 seconds, a minute. Maybe it comes back a few times. But just notice where in your life this is showing up for you. And just observe it. Be an observer of it without judging it, without beating yourself up around it. Just take a moment to recognize, yes, there it is. There's that relentlessness. And it shows up for me like this. Just watch it. Just watch it with curiosity. Be kind to yourself when you're in your relentless mode, because you are driving yourself. You are being the driver when perhaps you don't need to be. So take a moment to just notice that. And take your free hand, if you've been placing your hand on your solar plexus the whole time, take your free hand, bring it to your heart. And we're just going to do a little heart rub. Little heart rub with that free hand. Contemplating the relentlessness, how you may have been a little hard on yourself recently, how you pushed yourself, how you didn't allow yourself to fully have the feelings that you needed to have. Perhaps you were unkind. Perhaps you had some symptomologies that you ignored. However it's coming up for you, let yourself know it's okay. It's okay that this occurred. It's okay that it transpired. That relentless sun is going to come back again. And that's okay too. But in this moment, what we're really seeking is a gentleness and an okayness and a holding yourself with gentleness. So just allowing that hand that was just rubbing at the heart center, just allowing it to rest at the heart center. And take a moment to consider what one energy, one emotion, one perspective would help you to be more gentle to yourself with regard to this relentlessness. What is one energy that might soften your perspective? If it has to do with your health, it might simply be the energy of acknowledgement, acknowledging your limit. That's all. If it has to do with how hard you're pushing yourself with your career or your work, it might simply be allowing yourself to receive some appreciation from yourself for the hard work that you do, for all that you've already achieved and accomplished, and knowing that you are going to continue to work hard. Just some appreciation, sending a little appreciation your way. If it has to do with pushing yourself through to reach a goal, maybe the energy that you're seeking is a little bit more trust in the process. Trusting in yourself that you will take action when you need to, but you don't always need to. So just feeling into some of those scenarios, you may have your own. Feel into what one energy, one gentle, introduced vibration would help shift you just a little to the left or right of that relentlessness. Maybe something did happen. Maybe somebody stepped into the space and gave you a hug. That's beautiful. Maybe the piece that you really need to look to next time is to seek help, seek support. One of the things that the energies of this lunation are showing us is how much support there is for us. We don't need to do this alone. Yes, you step into the limelight as yourself, by yourself, but remember that you have your whole crew behind you and your whole audience in front of you. And so you are fully supported. So whatever energy has arisen for you, just take your free hand and tap the space between the pinky finger and the ring finger. And just tap and encourage and allow and invite and welcome and receive that balancing energy. Whatever it is, whether it be trust, acknowledgement, appreciation, compassion, allowing, and just tapping that into your heart space. When we tap that space between the pinky finger and the ring finger, as one of our practitioners in our inner wisdom circle has taught us, this is your triple warmer meridian. And so it really is opening you and inviting all of this energy to move through your entire body. So whatever gift you're giving yourself of appreciation or self-trust, whatever it is in this moment, visualize it moving through your body like liquid light. Allow it to flow through your body. See it moving through your arteries, into your organs, your vital organs. See that ribbon of light moving up into your mind, your brain, your physical brain, through your thought processes. Allow it to move down the neck and shoulders and into the spinal column. Allow it to move down into the hips, the first and second chakras. Awakening, enlivening, but allowing a settledness, a groundedness to occur as well. Feel how it moves down the arms, into the fingertips, down the legs, the backs of the knees, through the key meridians, liver, kidney, stomach, spleen, gallbladder, all the way down into the feet and each toe. Feel how it settles into the bones, the connective tissue, the muscle, the fascia, the ligaments. Feel how this energy becomes a part of you and you become it. And as you sit in this energy, this supportive vibration, that you have called in for you, because you are taking a stand for yourself. We set this intention. My intention is that I am consistently, divinely assisted to be seen in the fullness of my own beauty and shining in greatest good for all. Okay, so just coming back and taking a moment. As you do that, I'm just going to sign off from our recording and remind everybody that we do have our Reflection Circle and Inner Wisdom Circle next Thursday with Dr. Leslie Phillips, and she's been working with us to develop our psychic and intuitive capacities, which is beautiful. And I talked about shadow work that we're going to be doing in September, and that's going to be with practitioner Natalie Jackson, who is a certified shadow work facilitator. We're really excited to have her with us in September. So if you're interested in expanding into that a little bit more, just reach out to us at toolsfortransformation.ca. And of course, the Inner Wisdom Fundamentals Toolkit, all the pieces are free. And so remember to either download that yourself if you haven't already, or share it with your friends. So with that, we're going to say good evening to those on the recording and just spend some time with the folks live. Anything else, Bella?
No, I would just say capitalize on this exciting new moon and set your intentions. Now is the time.
Love that. Okay, see you all soon.